Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is your girl Bridget Nicole. Hope everyone is having a great afternoon as I am, chilling, positive vibes. I bring love, light, and good energy to you. Hoping that you're all having a great day. I just wanted to share a story with you guys, and hopefully that someone will find inspiration through what they might be going through, or maybe they went through what I went through and can understand where I'm coming from and still going through. I am a single mother of 4. I have a 15-year-old, 12-year-old, two 10-year-olds. My son, he actually will be 11 on the 27th of this month. When I was 22 years old, my son, he was 2. He was taken from me. This was in 2014. The actual date was April the 10th, the day that my son was taken from me. One of the most hardest days of my life. Like literally, like it was devastating. Something that I wouldn't wish nothing on any mother, any parent. And no, he didn't die. He was taken by the court. His grandmother went and filed a petition against me and was saying that I was abusing my son. I was abusing my children. I was on drugs, and I was with a man that was abusing my children, threatening to kill me and my children. And at that time, you know, it was crazy. And so I got a knock on the door one day, and it was Little Rock Police Department. This at the time when I was staying back home in Arkansas. And the police, they knocked on my door, and they had a order of protection from the court. And they was like, Miss Farmer, you know, we here for your son. I'm like, what? You know, like, what's going on? They're like, well, we have an order of protection to remove your son from the home. And I'm like, y'all not taking my son nowhere. Y'all could take me to jail. And it was a female officer and it was a male officer. I was like, y'all not taking me to jail. I mean, y'all not taking my son. Y'all could just take me to jail. Like, no, not taking my baby from me. And they was like, well, Miss Farmer, you know, there's a court date on here. You can go to court and you can tell your side of the story, and it'll be up to the judge to make a decision in regards to this. So we were going back and forth, I'd say about 10, 15 minutes. And while we're at the door, and, you know, I'm there with my son. My son, he's 2, and I have another baby. She's 1. And we're there, and it's like, my kids, they don't know what's going on. They seeing me crying. My son, he don't want to go. He don't know these police officers. And his grandmother is outside, standing outside on the downstairs, and I see her in the parking lot. So I get the paper from the police officer. So I'm crying, all hysterical, all over the place. And I give them my son, and I'm looking at the paper. So as I look over it, you know, it's like all these accusations. I have the paper now. I just don't feel like digging it up. But all these accusations of I beat my son, scars on him, and like I'm on drugs and just all type of stuff. So it was just like, Lord, what am I gonna do? Like, my son just got taken from me. I'm angry. All type of thoughts running through my mind. Like, I wanted to go shoot at these people. I wanted to kill these people. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just being honest. I'm just gonna tell the truth. Like, I was a very upset and angry woman at that time. So time went on. 2 weeks goes by. My son's father and my girl's father end up shooting at each other. This was April the 24th, 2014. They shot at each other. Now, I wasn't with my girl's father. I wasn't with my son's father. I get a phone call I'm at home. Same apartment that they come take my son from. I'm at home. It's my girl's dad. His name's Fred. He calls. He say, Bridget, there was a car seat in the back seat. Me and Brian just got in a shootout. I need you to call and check on BJ. What? Y'all, like, I'm getting nauseous to my stomach. Just it's forgive me. It's like flashbacks, just reliving it over again. But I'm stronger through Jesus Christ. I'm stronger. I will get this story out. But the girl's dad called, and he's like, Bridget, me and Brian just got in a shootout with each other. You need to call and check on BJ. So I'm like, what? So at the time, his sister and his mom, Fred's sister and mom, was at the apartment with me. And before I knew it, y'all, I was shaking. My head started spinning. I couldn't, like, I just passed out. And I remember Crystal, she was like, Bridget, you okay? I'm like, your brother just called and said that him and Brian just got in a shootout with each other, and it was a car seat in the back seat. So we all jump in my truck. We go to where my baby daddy was at. Now at this time, I had a restraining order on my girl's father, because prior to my son being taken from me, a year before that, in 2013, me and him end up catching a drug case. But that's another story. And let's just say that it was time for me to remove myself from the situation, and he didn't want to accept that, and he started getting abusive, and things got out of hand. So I had to protect me and my children. So we get to my car and we go to where my girl's dad was at. And where he was at, he was like maybe 10, I give or take 10, no more than 15 minutes from my apartment. He was at a friend's house. So we gets over there and the ambulance and everything is there, and they like, now me and my girl's father, we don't not supposed to be around each other because of the order of protection. But at the same time, you know, he's my kid's father. And I will, like, you know what I'm saying, like, he called me and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So while the police are there and everything, like, they saying that it was so much, y'all, so much. It was just so much. Like, the police were there, the ambulance was there, and they like, my son's father, he was shot, he was hit. And I started getting these phone calls. You set Brian up to get killed and this and that. And I'm like, what? Like, hold on. I don't know anything, nothing about any of this. Like, how is it that I know something about him getting shot, or I set him up, or, you know, any of this? But goes back to this. 2 weeks prior to the shooting occurring, an order of protection gets filed against me, against my son and his grandmother, which is his father's mother. So I have no contact with my child. I can't see my child, can't talk to my child, because they have this protection order. So I don't know if my son was in the vehicle or not. So it's so much, because like it's like my, you know what I'm saying, like my life is spinning in a spiral. Like what's going on, you know, like Jesus Lord. I'm gonna get through this. And the police are there. They, you know, Fred, he was grazed, but he wasn't hit. So then, you know, we finally get the story, and we sitting out there for a minute. The ambulance, the MEMS, they check him out. The paramedics, they check him out, and they like, Miss Foreman, well, you know, he has a protection order against you. And I'm like, no, I have one against him, but I'm just, you know, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, because he told me that my son's car seat was in the back seat, and he don't know if my son was in there. I was like, I'm trying to figure out what I need to know, what's going on with my son. I need to know where was my son at during the time of this. So the detectives, they speaking to me, and they like, well, Miss Farmer, can you come down to the substation? And I'm like, sure, you know. And gets to the substation, and the police, we talking, and they like, well, Miss Foreman, we just want to inform you that, you know, there was nobody in the vehicle with Brian at the time, you know what I'm saying, with the victim at the time of the incident when it occurred. It was just him, the car seat was just in there. I'm like, okay. So I'm gathering myself, trying to prepare myself, you know. I'm in the interrogation room, we talking and everything. And it was crazy how everybody kept saying, was calling my phone, said I'm wrong, I had Fred shoot Brian and all this other stuff. But when it all boiled down to it, Brian, which is my son's father, may he rest in peace, he seen my girl's father at the car wash, which was on Baseline. And people, if you're not from Arkansas, then you wouldn't know, but the people that's from Arkansas knows, you know, Baseline. And it's this car wash that was called Splash. And so Brian's mother stays on Duncan, you know, off where Baseline is. And she stayed like a few blocks, you know what I'm saying, from the car wash. And the girl's daddy and his cousin, they was at the car wash. He was cleaning his car or whatever. And apparently Brian seen Fred at the car wash and went and got a gun, came back and jumped out the vehicle and started shooting at the girl's father. And he shot back. So it was much more. So I'm like, if this man shoot at this man, how the hell did I set this man up to get killed or shot or any of that? How, you know, like, how did I have anything to do with any of this? Oh, but because I have children by both of them, I'm the wrong one. I'm the one that's responsible for all this. No, I'm gonna tell you where Bridget takes the blame. And what Bridget takes the blame is because I should have left Fred alone. But I was young, didn't know no better. Had four kids, 2 of them his. Didn't know any better. And all I needed was someone to watch our kids while I go to drill weekend. April the 6th. I go to drill weekend. I'm in the service at this time. Go to drill weekend. And next thing you know, 2 days later, I get a knock at my door with an order of protection for my son to have my baby taken from me. For what? for false accusations. And what's so hurtful about all this is that my son was taken. Two of my baby daddies got in a shootout with each other. And the day that we go to court, May 5th, 2014, no one came to show up at court for me. Nobody in my family showed up. Nobody. Not my mother, not my father, my sister, my brother, nobody. I went by myself. And the judge, he was asking, they called us up and the judge was asking, like, why the father not here? And why are you're the grandmother, why is the father not here? And she got to tell him how she got a drug case and she on drugs and just like all this other type of stuff. And just like she set my son up to get killed and shot at, and my son is in the hospital half paralyzed and stuff like this. So I'm like, so when the judge hear about the drug case or whatever, the judge is like, is DHS involved? And she like, yeah, DHS is involved. And so she has these people there with her. Nobody's there with me. I'm just there by myself trying to defend myself. I'm young, 22, no lawyer, no nothing, just in the courtroom by myself. Don't know no better. And the judge is like, we'll come back and revisit this case after the DHS case is closed. Y'all, for 2 years. For 2 years, I did not see my son. Didn't hear from my son. Didn't know if my son was okay. The same day that the judge made his decision, May 5th, when we left out of the courtroom, y'all, my heart was so broken. Because I really thought I was going to get my baby and bring my baby home. Because I didn't do nothing. I don't know why God chose me to go through this. I don't know. But for whatever reason, he chose me, and I was angry for a long time. For a very long time. I was in a dark place, a very dark place. I was vulnerable. I was weak. I wanted to commit suicide. I lost my way. I was angry with God. I started clubbing. I started drinking. I started smoking. Any type of way to numb my pain, I did it. My son, he's been gone 8 years now. And I see my son I don't see my son like I would love to see my son. But I prefer my son to be at home. And that's the part that I can't get past, because I'm trying to figure out of those 8 years, why my son is not at home. And so as God continued to use me and guide me, I will continue to share my story with you guys, and hopefully that it will help somebody. And not just help somebody, but also help myself, because the pain stings in my heart to get up every day. I have my other 3 children. I said I have 4. I have my 3 girls. My oldest, she's 15. She's starting an internship this year. She only needs 8 credits to graduate from high school. I have a 12-year-old. She'll be in the 8th grade this next coming school year. And my baby girl, she just turned 10. Her and my son, they're 11 years apart. I mean, not 11 years apart, but 11 months apart. Yeah. So, but I will be back. This is just the beginning. And I just pray that my story can help someone that might be going through what I'm going through, or can find hope, in your darkness, because he never said it'll be easy. But there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And my faith is in God. I trust him, because, trust me, a lot of people say, Bridget, that couldn't be me. That couldn't be me. I would have been did this. I would have been did that. But all those things that and not saying that I never thought about doing any of those things. Oh, trust and believe me, because that's me. Me. That's my baby. He is mine. He came out of me. And I love him. But there's just certain things. There's this battle. When God chose me to go through this, I knew that this was something that I could fight alone. And because of him, I'm still here. Because of him, I'm still trying. Because of him, I won't give up on my son. I won't. I will not. It's not easy. It's not easy. To know what I've been through these last 8 years. Sometimes I ask myself, girl, how did you? But I know it wasn't nobody but God. I know it wasn't nobody but my spirit guides. And it wasn't easy. It took a lot. I went through a lot. I went through a lot. And this is just the beginning of my story, y'all. And I will be back to share again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Later.